animated epic of love, guilt, and redemption. In the animated epic, Dante's Inferno, a woman by the name of Beatrice is confronted by the devil in the wake of her husband's departure for war. The fallen angel reveals to Beatrice that her husband and lover, Dante, will be unfaithful during his crusades. Beatrice refutes the accusation passionately, so passionately in fact that she is willing to agree to a wager of sorts. The agreement is simple. If Dante returns the faithful soldier of God he left as, she will remain safe, and the two will live happily together. However, if he does not, the soul of Beatrice will belong to the devil upon her demise. The deal is made. Along his journey to spread the name of God, Dante falls prey to a myriad of sins, including lust and betrayal. Because of this, the devil's end of the bargain is maintained, and Beatrice is ultimately killed, her soul dragged to hell before Dante's very eyes. He pursues them to a gate that serves as a portal to hell, and Dante enters, thus beginning his Inferno. Now, most men harbor a secret dream. Most people, perhaps. The right to be granted a single, terrifying opportunity to prove their love through action rather than words. It is the desire for a single moment of defining, fierce, and formidable courage that most hope for, yet very few wish to actually face. Dante faces the physical and metaphysical specters from his past. He is confronted with the consequences of his barbarism, disloyalty, and his warped beliefs. Yet through his confrontation with hell itself, Dante begins the painful path towards redemption and towards the fight to prove that love through action. In the animated film Dante's Inferno, hell becomes a place not only of punishment, but also of revelation. Dante mostly observes other sinners being punished in the poem. He learns cruel justice, but he is not the same. In the animated film, hell becomes more personal. Dante is confronted by those he failed, killed, and those whom harmed him. Dante defeats his father, avenging the suffering his mother and he endured for years. He faces Francesco, his brother-in-law, whom represents the righteous man that Dante failed to become. Through these encounters, Dante is forced to confront the truth about who he really is. For most of the film, Dante believes he is a righteous crusader, fighting for God. He refers to himself as a soldier of God and a holy warrior in an attempt to explain and justify his actions to characters such as Virgil, Beatrice, and himself. In hell, that delusion collapses. Francesco reveals that the Crusades were not holy at all. The priests lied. Dante realizes the violence he committed was no divine judgment or justice, only barbarism. This realization becomes necessary for Dante's transformation. He cannot redeem himself if he continues to lie to himself. He must accept the truth of his sin. Throughout hell, he is forced to confront the damage he has done. He sees victims of his brutality. He encounters Francesco and realizes that Beatrice's death was tied to his betrayal and his actions during the Crusades. These encounters force introspection. They force Dante to acknowledge guilt rather than excuse it. Hell becomes less about torment and more about forcing understanding. This understanding is granted life as Dante descends deeper into the 9 circles of hell, each circle representing a different aspect of human sin. and suffering. Limbo. This circle is reserved for those who live without baptism or knowledge of God. Here Dante is faced with the hordes of forgotten children, many never born, others dying deaths shortly into their childhood. Virgil, renowned Roman poet, calls out to Dante through the wailing of wicked little souls. Dante jumps across a short bridge and into a door leading him to a more serene area of the Inferno, the Hall of Kings. Upon entry, Dante immediately realizes he recognizes many a face. Hector, Julius Caesar, Socrates, and even the noble Saladin himself. He was considered a noble non-Christian, therefore he would not suffer torment, but limbo. It is here where we are granted passage to a memory held deep within Dante. We see he and a Muslim warrior clashing swords. He cuts the man down when a yelp could be heard from behind. "Father." Dante turns and nearly strikes. "Please, sir, she is but a child." Francesco calls out to him, informing that Saladin's army is routed. Dante turns, wiping the blood from his face, and a look of madness upon him. Stark contrast to the soldier of God he claims to be. The memory comes to a halt as Dante and Saladin gaze at each other. Saladin a look of contempt, but Dante seems taken aback, almost confused at how this man could be here. If their war was truly holy, shouldn't this man have been banished deeper into the pits of hell? Virgil and the Crusader continue on into lust. Within the circle of lust, storms rage and waters crash from all angles. Those who occupy this realm are doomed to be tossed violently in the turbulent winds of their passions, as well as the suffocating depths of their lustful desires. Dante sees souls being whisked through the harsh skies, among them Cleopatra and Helen of Troy, two great historical figures of seduction and temptation. Dante hears his name called through the whistles of the wind. It's Beatrice. He rushes to a tower at the end of the bridge where he is ambushed by a flock of temptresses. When seduction fails, they reveal their more grotesque nature as insect-like mandibles protrude from their lower regions. Dante slaughters them and calms their storm. Suddenly, an abyss encompasses him as his beloved Beatrice is revealed. She questions his betrayal, and we see yet another flashback from Dante's time in the Crusades, ordered by King Richard to stand guard over 3,000 prisoners. They can be negotiated in exchange for the return of the true cross, which was the cross used during the crucifixion of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. While standing guard at this post, a prisoner is beaten severely for attempting to protect a female prisoner. The woman he protected calls out to Dante from behind cold steel bars, begging for the man to be spared. What could you possibly offer a soldier of God? Dante says the words with a cold neutrality. The woman continues, saying she may offer him comfort on his coldest of nights. Francesco begs Dante not to commit such an egregious sin. Dante reminds him that they have been absolved, and therefore sin is no longer a possibility for them. He orders the guards to stop beating the man and takes the woman away to do with as he will. Dante pleads with Beatrice that the war changed him, and he did not mean to hurt her. Gluttony. Here, souls are forever denied what they cannot satisfy in life. Cerberus, the three-headed beast, stands guard over this circle. Virgil informs Dante that the true circle of gluttony resides within Cerberus. Dante protests with a "Good Lord." However, when Virgil informs Dante this is the only way to get to his beloved, he rushes into the belly of the beast with no hesitation. Now, within the bowels of Cerberus, we are truly within the circle of gluttony. Dante encounters a soul whom knew him in life, Chaco. Dante uses a cross gifted to him by Beatrice to free this man from his suffering. The devil himself appears and is enraged. Dante would dare free a soul damned to torment. He forces the memory of another upon Dante, a memory of his father's, Alighiero. Alighiero sits, stuffing his face with salted meats as Beatrice sits across from him. She's grown petite as the worry for her husband's return continues to consume her. Alighiero insists that she must eat to regain her form, as her current state is unappealing for a lady. The devil offers to allow Dante visit with his dear departed father. As the inner tendrils of Cerberus attempt to subdue Dante, Virgil points out to the beast's black heart, and Dante rises with his scythe and pierces it. The beast vomits blood and spits Dante into a chasm. He lands in the circle of greed. The fourth circle resembles almost a massive treasure cove. Molten gold cascades the damned as they drown and burn in the wealth they could not live without. It is here Dante is confronted by his father, Alighiero. He tells Dante that the devil promised him 1,000 years free of torture and all the gold he could desire if he would simply kill his own son. Dante pleads with his father to let him pass as he only desires Beatrice. Yet Alighiero gives him no choice but to take his life. Ultimately, Dante still grants his father his wish, throwing him into the molten gold, for there he can have his fill. For a brief sliver in time, Dante doubts his ability to go on. He even doubts Virgil's intentions, losing his grip on reality. Virgil urges him forward into anger. Within the circle of anger, the very air you breathe reeks of wrath. Furious tendrils sprout from the ground, reaching and clawing for Dante. We are then taken to another memory belonging to him. The 3,000 prisoners he was instructed to guard, all clamoring for food and freedom. Francesco reminds him of their purpose: retake the Holy Land. Saladin showed mercy when he claimed the land this previous year. Therefore, they should show equal kindness and mercy. Dante will have none of it. They are heretics and deserve steel. He slaughters them and puts an end to their begging. The memory fades as Virgil reminds Dante not to dwell on past mistakes. The two must cross into the river Styx, a massive lake of sludge, where souls whom allowed anger to prevail in life are left to wander and wail in contempt of their suffering. Virgil calls upon Pelagius. Pelagius is a often violent king of the Lapiths in Greek mythology, recognized as the son of Ares. He earned his spot in hell after expressing anger towards Apollo for killing or raping his daughter. Pelagius then promptly set ablaze to the temple of Apollo, where he was struck down by the god and sentenced to torment. While atop the great warrior, Dante hears a familiar voice call out to him. It was Filippo Argenti, an old enemy of the very real poet and politician Dante Alighieri. Filippo dares the mighty Dante to come from atop his steed. However, Dante opts to allow the damned to rip him apart instead. Here the more solemn souls reside. Pelagius is struck down by the devil, and using Beatrice, he lures Dante further into the circles of hell, into Heresy. Here the heretics burn eternally. Dante comes across another name in hell he so despised in life: Farinata degli Uberti, a 13th century Florentine Ghibelline leader. He informs Dante that the damned can see the past and the future, but never the present. Dante's future is filled with destruction and death. Beatrice will be betrothed to the fallen angel, and Dante will be doomed to suffer in hell. Dante, having had enough of the man's words, strikes into his eye socket with the cross gifted by Beatrice. He never cared for him. He slays the man. Virgil and Dante continue on. Their path becomes blocked by the great minotaur, whom guards the passage into the seventh circle of hell. After he is felled, together Virgil and Dante enter into the circle of violence. Violent souls tormented, forced to boil in the blood of those that they killed, reserved for spirits such as Alexander and Attila, the great kings of violence and bloodshed. Virgil summons Nessus, one of the centaurs patrolling the banks of the Phlegethon, a river of boiling blood. Virgil and Dante tread into the woods of suicide, where the tormented spirits whom committed violence to themselves reside in eternal damnation. It is here Dante hears a voice call to him, a woman. He follows the voice and eventually steps on a branch. It speaks. "Why do you break me? Mother?" Dante questions his mother with sadness in his voice. How could she be here in a place like this? Virgil reminds him, when a soul takes its own life, they are sent to this circle, the seventh circle. Dante mentions how his mother died of fever, not suicide. It is here his mother comes forth with the truth, admitting that she took her own life to escape his father's cruelty. Dante removes the cross from his satchel and frees his mother, sending her soul to be with God. Their time in the seventh circle has not yet come to an end. The abominable sands. All those who have committed violence against God reside within this section of the seventh circle. Dante is thrust into a bloody flashback of him slaying the 3,000 prisoners as Francesco looks on helpless and unwilling to step between his brother-in-law and his wrath. Dante leaves a river of blood in his wake. The memory comes to an end, and Dante realizes that he is surrounded by crusaders. Why are they here? They fought for God. Francesco emerges from the shadows. Dante questions his brother. "Why are you here, brother? You do not deserve this." Francesco reminds Dante that he is in hell because of him. He also informs Dante that there was no holy war. The priests lied. The rage in Francesco's voice is overwhelming. The calm and chivalrous man he once was is swallowed entirely by the fury that now possesses him. The two crusaders clash swords in the seventh circle of hell. Francesco, clearly the better swordsman, has the upper hand for but a moment, when Dante's fire within becomes too much for the great Francesco. Dante swings and shatters the sword of his opponent, and with another swing, it is as if the fury itself materializes into a scythe of energy, severing his once beloved brother's head in two. Dante says a prayer for him. However, Francesco's soul is forever bound to hell. He will rest for a while, but his suffering will continue. Fraud. Here, the three great rivers of blood within hell converge. Virgil calls upon Agarion, a great winged beast of many forms. In most pieces of literature, he may have had an honest man's face, the wings of a bat and the paws of a lion or a bear, as well as the body of a reptile and the tail of a scorpion. Upon reaching the center of the circle of fraud, Virgil informs Dante that he must press on alone. As he does so, Dante becomes overwhelmed with the memory of his sins, each step draining his will to continue. Yet he marches on. We see a memory of Dante's father and Beatrice being attacked by the same man of the woman he slept with during the Crusades. The physical embodiment of consequence has now returned to take what Dante took for granted. The betrothal of Satan and Beatrice draws close as both Dante and his beloved Beatrice realize the true depths of what he has done. Beatrice curses him. How could he have done this to her? Beatrice, broken from the betrayal, bites into the devil's fruit. The union is complete. Satan leaves her to release her frustrations on Dante. She beats him and curses him. "This is where you belong," she says, as she cracks open the earth, unveiling the last circle, the ninth circle. But before she can toss Dante into it, he produces her cross. He pleads for her to again accept the love of God, and without a thought she accepts. Her love was never truly gone, she was only hurting. She is engulfed in pure light as an angel of two faces descends to escort her into heaven. She and Dante say farewell for now. Virgil informs Dante the only escape is blocked by the devil himself down below in the final circle, the circle of traitors. The furthest place in all creation from the divine light of God, says Virgil. This is the ninth circle of the Inferno. All around are the frozen and icy souls of traitors and betrayers. Here lay Nimrod, Ephialtes, and Antaeus, biblical giants left to guard the space between the eighth and the ninth circles. Dante comes across a web of frozen chains and breaks through. On the other side awaits God's fallen angel, Lucifer. Dante promises to rend the icy soul from the great beast. If he fails, he will be doomed to sit in this pit until creation itself takes its last breath. They clash, and Dante manages to split the skull of the great beast, for he is not invincible. He is just a demon. "What have you done to me?" the devil questions as he begins writhing in pain. His skull continues to split when suddenly the devil's skin shatters like glass, making way for his true form. He states how Dante is the greatest of all his minions, as Dante has now freed him and succeeded where so many fabled warriors have failed, Alexander and Attila among them. Finally, the devil's plan is revealed, a warrior strong enough to crack open his husk and trigger his metamorphosis. During their battle, the ninth circle floor is cracked open, revealing the portal to purgatory. There lies Beatrice. Lucifer can now reclaim his place upon the throne. He will slay Dante, take his place in purgatory, and from there, he will make his way back to paradise. All will suffer and burn in his wake. Just when all seems lost, Dante drops to one knee and prays. "Almighty God, I forsake my escape. I give up even Beatrice. I belong here in hell and accept my just damnation. Grant me the power to keep your enemy here with me." With this prayer, Lucifer is turned to icy stone. Dante falls into purgatory where he is reunited with his beloved Beatrice. She has forgiven him. God will forgive him. All that is left is to forgive himself. Dante sheds the red cross stitched into his flesh upon entry into hell. As night falls, it is turned into a snake. The devil has succeeded. However, ultimately, despite the enormous task, Dante didn't abandon his journey. He pressed forward through the fiends and the flame, through the circles, freeing souls where he could. He frees his mother, he frees Chaco and Beatrice, and continues onward until, unfortunately, he reaches Satan himself. The final confrontation becomes the culmination of Dante's sins and struggle. The devil stands as the ultimate obstacle and the final manifestation of everything that brought Dante to hell. He faces the embodiment of his sins and past transgressions. By defeating Satan, Dante symbolically defeats the evil that marked him. After the ordeal, he removes the red cross from his chest, the symbol that once defined him as a crusader and a soldier of God. The removal of the cross signifies the slaying of the identity that once justified his violence. Dante no longer hides behind the symbol he used to justify his actions and the actions of those that he served beside for so long. Dante makes the choice to accept his sins and his fate in order to ensure that the devil may not be granted entry into the heavens, although he fails. In this sense, the final confrontation with Satan can be viewed as both internal and external. Dante defeats the devil, air quotations, but more importantly, he confronts the evil within himself. Through this confrontation, Dante earns his redemption and the right to hold his beloved Beatrice again. He made many mistakes, both in life and in death. However, unlike most men, Dante was granted the opportunity to prove just how deep his love was for his woman and for his God. He displayed fierce bravery in the face of unimaginable horrors, outside and within. He did what most men dream of, saving the ones they love. That is why, despite his faults, Dante remains a hero that earned redemption.